Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Purpose and Prosperity Masterclass series, where you're invited to unlock your divine calling in order to create extraordinary income and impact. Listen up. As an entrepreneur of 12 years, I absolutely get it. I'm Katie Sewick, and I know firsthand that entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. It comes with a complexity of challenges that can potentially derail us. Is it any wonder so many businesses don't succeed? I'm on a mission to change this. I've pulled together over 25 powerful, purpose-driven entrepreneurs who have so much to share with you in the context of three vital pillars of successful businesses: purpose and faith, mindset and well-being, and strategy and implementation. Friend, I have pulled together the best of the best into the room just for you. So grab your notebook, give yourself time and space to absorb all this yummy goodness, and get ready to accelerate as a purpose-driven entrepreneur. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Welcome back. We are hosting yet another masterclass today featuring Eileen McDowell, who I have had the pleasure of getting to know in the last few weeks, and I know has a lot of golden nuggets in store for you. So let's just dive right in and get some serious inspiration going around here, but take notes, please. Take notes. I really want to reemphasize this because it's so easy to sit there and take in information, but really jot down some things that come up for you because this is so valuable. And as I always say, every single speaker is asked to give a suggestion as an action item that you could take today to move the needle forward, to really get going. So please make sure you do that. Otherwise, taking in all the info gets you to nowhere, spell. We got to actually do stuff. Who knew? So Eileen, thank you so much for being here and agreeing to share this space with us. I would love for you to share who you are, what it is that you do, and of course, it's always important to know the context of how you got to where you are. And I know you have a beautiful story, so please go for it. Share with us.
Yes, thank you for having me. My name is Eileen McDowell. I am currently a hypnotherapist. That is the modality that I have chosen. I'm also a licensed professional counselor. Perhaps later in our conversation, it'll come up as to why I switched to hypnotherapy. Actually, it will, because it's really important to know. But that's what I do full time. I have an MBA. That wasn't enough. I went back to school again and got a master's in counseling. And that again wasn't enough. Now I'm working on my PhD. It's as if school is never ending.
Right?
I love learning, and that's something that I do every single day and can't have enough of it. So that's what we're doing. I am in practice with my twin sister, Laura Casper. Our website is hypnolife365.com, and there's lots of fun things on there, a lot of information, especially about neuroplasticity in the mind.
And it's beautiful. So what was it that led you to getting into this kind of work to begin with?
I was always very enthralled and curious about people and why they do what they do, why do they react in this way, and how complicated the brain was. And I really didn't understand that I was really passionate about the brain and neuroplasticity until, the past 5 years or so, probably I would say 6 years. But it came from an emotional standpoint. And, I had several friends who are doctors in the industry, and I would always have conversations with them. And years ago, over a decade ago, my late husband said, you have to go back to school and do this. That's obviously your passion. And I did not skip a beat that he said it. And it was literally the month that I paid off my master's for business, I enrolled again and started another master's in counseling, and I never really turned back. I've always been a business owner. I've only worked for a corporation once, and just don't buy into the common, the politics, the kissing butt to this person, and then manipulating here, manipulating there, I raised very quickly I worked for MCI WorldCom, and I took advantage of all of the classes that they had lots of, their certificates from the classes. And so I ended up being the statistical analyst for the VP of marketing. And I learned that statistics can be manipulated any way you want them to be. You take one
Mm,
piece out just to get the number that you need to get for that meeting. And it just was really unimpressed with the large corporations and all the politics that went involved there. So I liked that experience for that reason, but I left very quickly. I was in my 20s, early 20s, and never looked back. I've been selling since I was 15, and have had many businesses in real estate, especially lots of businesses in
okay.
real estate. So yeah, so being an entrepreneur is in my heart and soul.
Mm. And what I love about what you shared is that we really are speaking to an audience that shares that passion. And many speakers that I've interviewed, many people that I talk to have left that corporate world for that reason. It's out of integrity with how they want to operate. But then it becomes, how do I make that kind of money and live the kind of lifestyle that I want to live and still keep my integrity intact? So
Right.
I love having people like you in to interview because it is possible. And if it's in you, it's for you. That's something I believe
Yes.
in.
Yes.
So one of the things I like to ask, just because all of us are in our journey and we can all learn from one another, is if you had any advice that you would give to your younger self about where you are now and what it took to get here and how you continue to be successful in what you do, what would that advice be?
Know who you are.
Mm,
Got to know who you are. There's a lot of, especially these days, our poor younger generation is so influenced by social media and what is expected and what we're supposed to look like and how we're supposed to act and what we're supposed to say. And you can say anything now and really put people down in a horrible way. And the younger generation is just, and everybody, even our ages, is so you take that in, you take that energy in, and you believe, even if just one person says something negative, you take that on way more than you do the positive. And so just to shut off all of the noise and really look inside and figure out who you are and what your passions are and where your bliss comes from. And then when you know exactly who you are, no matter how weird it is, who cares? Because weird is good. We need weird.
we like weird. Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody needs your
Then
weird.
yes, we need weird. And so
Mhm.
then that you will be successful, period, end of story. There's no question about it. If you follow your path, follow your bliss, follow who you are, you will be successful. I had to start over again. I followed what
Mhm.
my parents said to do. I was not allowed to go study psychology because it wasn't an appropriate, foundation. So, I was really
Right.
pushed into the business aspect of things, which is fine because I'm still an entrepreneur in my heart and soul anyway. And perhaps I was meant to do both. But I think that I could have cut out 10, 15 years of confusion and frustration and not following. I felt like I was just off the path because I followed what somebody else told me to do rather than
Mm.
following what was in my heart.
It just made me think as you were talking about that, how one of my clients is actually only 23 years old. And I'm like, man, if everybody started young with doing that, finding yourself, self-discovery work, you're setting yourself up for a lifetime of so much more fulfillment. And
Oh yeah.
oh my goodness. So I couldn't agree with you more. That's the
Well,
best
that's
advice.
that's one of the three major reasons why I see depression is lack of
Mm.
purpose, right? So it all
Oh,
boils down
yeah.
to purpose. And I know we're talking more about mindset, but purpose, it really blends into each other. Because if you're
It
not in
does.
purpose, then you have the wrong mindset. And your mindset is
Totally.
may as well just throw that out the window. And so that's right. So finding who you are, finding your purpose, and getting on that path early it will alleviate a whole lot of frustration. I have 70-year-olds who don't know who they are that we're working with,
Mm.
and it always boils down to, okay, what's the purpose? What's the passion? What do you want? Do you want to do artwork? Do you want to do what is it that you want out of life? Who do you want to touch? And then once we start talking about that, you see the glow, you see the energy, you see the
Right?
vibrations change. Yes.
It's so true. It's like they brighten up. Yeah, the light's been dimmed for a long time and you start to see it coming out and
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing to witness. Yeah. So as you know, you came aboard because it was such a good fit. And you, as you know, there's the three pillars that we've been talking about. The first being purpose, the second being mindset, and the third being strategy. Um, and like you said, you can't have one without the others. You
Right.
can, but it's not gonna get anywhere.
Yeah.
So because you are so well rehearsed in what you do, and particularly when it comes to hypnotherapy, I just want to hand the mic over and let you dive in for the next 15 minutes or so and just share whatever you think is really valuable for our audience to hear today.
Yeah, so I love how the conversation started because that really is where it starts, right? So
Mm,
understanding who you are. And
yes.
it's a shame that the general population doesn't slow down long enough to figure out who they are, just to sit in silence. I have my little Buddha over here. And the reason I do is because it reminds me every day that meditation, no matter who you are, what religion you are, no matter
Yeah.
where you come from, meditation is one of those things that really slows the mind down and allows other energies to help you figure out the direction that you need to go. My life changed when I started meditating. I knew nothing about meditation. I was raised Catholic, like meditation is crazy.
Yeah.
So I really started reading, really researching about, not only the brain and neuroplasticity and how our brain can change. We can create a new synaptic connection with a new thought. That's what we do in hypnotherapy. We create a new thought and then we create that synaptic connection. And the more you use that new thought, the larger and stronger that connection becomes. And so when you are on a pathway, let's say you want to stop drinking alcohol so much, or you want to stop eating, or you have lack of confidence when it comes to moving forward in your business, you have that imposter syndrome, and
Right.
this is the thought pattern that you have constantly, then we create a new synaptic connection that says you can and you will. And then we create a whole scenario around that you listen to every night before you go to bed for 30 days at least. And then that makes that connection like a muscle. It grows that connection like a muscle and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the more you go down that path, like a grassy pathway, right? So if there's grass all over the place, there's no clear path. But if you walk through that grass once, there's a very small pathway you can see, oh, there's something there. Then you go again and again and again. And before you know it, there's no grass and it's all dirt and it's clear and it's big. That's what we're doing with new synaptic highways. So your thought patterns are super, super important. When you're thinking, I can't, I can't, I can't, you're not going to, because your
Right.
subconscious then comes into play and it says, oh, just like a genie, you're telling me you can't. Well, I'm going to make darn sure that you can't. So I'm going to put doubt and fear and I'll make you sleepy if I need to in order to make
Oh,
sure that you can't. But if you keep saying, I can, I can, I can, then the subconscious goes, oh, okay, so we have to make that happen. And then I'm going to make you more aware. I'm going to make you more curious. I'm going to help you understand that meditation, whatever's coming in your path. Meditation is going to help slow everything down and get rid of all of the fog and all of the nonsense that's going on and really help me focus into what's happening and what I really want. So that's why, I really directed all of my practice toward hypnotherapy. I had a private practice for years and I had clients coming in and out and in and out, 1 hour sessions every single week for years. And they're making
mm,
progress, but it's really small, frustrating progress. And I'm thinking, why is this happening like this? This isn't why I got in this field. I want big change. I want to, let the birdie teach them how to fly and go off and fly, birdie, fly. And it just wasn't feeling that. And so then hypnotherapy was one of those things after I had major changes happen. My husband passed away of cancer. I have a 9-month-old son. I'm just finishing, my second degree, getting into, it was just this long path of hitting walls and hitting walls and,
right.
you know, and I had to slow down. I had to set everything aside. In fact, I remarried to an alcoholic. I freaked out because I'm, 9-month-old baby.
Yeah, I can
And then,
imagine.
oh my gosh, yeah, single mom, have no clue what to do next. My second marriage seemed to be the right fit, but I did ignore the signs because I wasn't slowing down enough to see what it is that I needed. So I moved forward with I was going down that path fast because this was it.
Of
And
course.
that just blew up in my face. And so because I wasn't taking care of myself and I wasn't slowing down, which I was telling everybody else to take care of themselves, but I was not doing self-care myself, I ended up with severe post-traumatic stress disorder. And so I moved back to California, and luckily my sister and her husband allowed me to come in and just let everything go. Oh, Kiki.
I knew that was going to happen.
That's
It's
okay.
lunchtime. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was like, hello. And so I had to go into partial hospitalization treatment for post-traumatic
Oh,
stress disorder.
wow.
So bad. Night terrors, seeing things. I mean, I literally would see my husband crouch down when I would walk around the corner between the stove and the sink, just visions and all kinds of things. And I thought, geez, something seriously wrong. That's where neuroplasticity came into play. We would do a meditation in the morning. It was from 9 to 2. We would do a meditation in the morning. And then there was a 2-hour education session where we would talk about exactly what's happening in our brain and why we're having the reactions that we're having. And so that got me thinking, okay, so if the brain is plastic like this, right? So it's malleable. We can,
Right.
when you have, say, post-traumatic stress disorder, which a lot of people actually suffer from, you have some synaptic connections that break. And so the brain is trying to build new connections, but it's hitting haywire because it doesn't
Mm,
really know where to go. And so you have to tell the brain where to go and what to do. So if people are suffering from depression, suffering from anxiety, it's an epidemic. Everybody knows it, especially our younger generations. Also, cortisol poisoning. We are constantly in this fight or flight state all the time. So
yeah.
we're sick in so many ways. And if we would just slow down enough and really focus on what our thoughts are doing, then we can control the direction that we're going. So when you talk about the subconscious mind, and I hope I'm not going in too many areas, I will bring it back around to like the subconscious and why it's so important in business
Yes.
is it is the bull. It's 95% of our thoughts. Think about that. 95% of our thoughts that we have every single day is subconscious. We don't even know that we're doing it. Only 5% is our conscious mind. And that's teeny tiny. So we're this little tiny rider and we think we're in control, but we're just this little tiny rider on this big, big bull that's like, I think I know what you want because you're telling me that I need to work harder. So we're going to make you work harder. We're going to make that cortisol go up all the way to the ceiling so you can keep going, keep going.
Ooh.
And then it's like, God, I feel sick. What am I doing? This isn't the way but you told me that you got to keep going. And so
Ugh.
it's doing everything that it can subconsciously to keep you going in the direction. Again, that's why it's so important. Slow down, let it all go, stop the thought process, and really focus on who you are and start there. What is it? How does it feel? How do you feel? Are you happy in the direction that you're going? Is it fulfilling you in a way that really fills your cup? Is it
Right.
something that you wake up in the morning and you think, I am so lucky that I'm doing what I'm doing? If you're not having that thought every single day in the morning, you're doing something wrong. You got to slow down, back up. It's not about the money. The money will come. It's about how you feel first and what you're doing. Then you move forward. Then the mindset is easy. Then you're telling your subconscious, I'm happy, I'm fulfilled, I'm excited, I'm doing all these things. And when you tell the subconscious that, then the subconscious goes, great, let's do more of that. Let's feel
Right.
better. We don't need the cortisol to go crazy. We can slow down that amygdala because, it comes from the amygdala in the very, very center of your brain. And most of our amygdala is oversized because it's used too much. So you got to slow all that down, slow down the cortisol, get that parasympathetic nervous system in place, which is the feel good hormones, rather than the sympathetic nervous system, which is the cortisol and the adrenaline. We got to slow all that down, right? You like feel tired just listening to the words, right? So
Well, I was just noticing that as you were talking about that, like high energy, I could literally feel my shoulders tense and my back tense. And then
yeah,
when you said we just need to calm down, I could literally go, oh, right. Okay. It's so
yeah.
powerful.
And it's just words, right? So the
Right.
words that we say create pictures in our mind. And
Mm,
so when you say the right words, then the picture in your mind goes in the right direction. And that picture in your mind is soothe, feel good, find my bliss. What does that look like? Okay, so my bliss is to heal other people, is to help people see the way, is to slow people down and connect them with who they are. And then change that mindset, change the narrative that they're saying about themselves so that they can move forward easily and effortlessly. And then when you do that, the universe, source, God, energy, whatever it is that you want to call it, will send you in the path and the direction that you were meant to be.
mm,
So I say source energy because I'm a spiritual person. I love law of attraction and all those kinds of things, but it's all the same, right? So scientists call it quantum physics.
right.
Religious people call it God and prayer. Doctors call it the placebo effect, right? It's belief. It's all the same. It's belief that you can. And when you believe that you can, you will. And how do you do that? Well, you start with the narrative. You start telling yourself that you can. That creates the new synaptic highway. And then you use that narrative over and over and over again. And when you do, you can really focus on that new pathway. And when you do focus on that new pathway, you create pictures in your mind. When you use those pictures in your mind, that's why meditation is so important. You close your mind, you close everything off except that picture in your mind, and you think about it. Where do I want to be 5 years from now? What's going to make me happy? And then you start feeling it. Once you have that picture in your mind, you start feeling it. When you feel it, that's when everything really starts to roll. That's that law of attraction. That's that the placebo effect too, right? So the placebo effect is when they do studies on new drugs, they will do half or a third will have just saline drip. And then
Right.
the rest of the people will have chemo. And the people with the saline drip heal from their cancer or will lose their hair because they think that that's what's supposed to happen. And it's all in the mind.
So
The mind does
powerful.
amazing things. So if you tell yourself you can, create the picture in your mind and feel it, there is no way that you're not going to get what you want.
So my question for you as a potential person in the audience, shall we say, and someone who has, I mean, I've been doing a lot of work on this stuff, so I get very excited when you're talking about it. But if I was to go back to you a few years ago when I was trying affirmations and I would, splatter something across the wall, and this was my new belief, what's up with the fact that we might say it out loud but not believe it? And how would someone
Resistance.
address that?
Yeah, so that's resistance. So that
Yeah.
really is, aside from psychosis and seizures, we can't do seizures in hypnosis. That is the only thing that stops people from moving in the direction that they want to in hypnosis is resistance. And that's a thought process, right? So that's a mindset.
Yeah.
So if I have someone who is, let me see, let me think of just a recent one. I have a doctor, and she grew up. She's Korean, and she grew up in a very hard set mentality that you just bulldoze through, and you must be a good girl, and you must follow directions, and you must be this particular way. And so she was raised that way all of her life. So she has very low self-esteem. She's a doctor. She's doing fabulously, right? She's like, to the most of the population, she's ruling the world. But to her, she's not. She's miserable and depressed. And her marriage is failing and everything's, all this is going on. And it's because she's telling herself that she's not enough. She's telling herself that she's not a good girl. She's telling herself that she's not smart enough and that she's not pretty enough. And she's the dermatologist. So she does all the injections, and she's gorgeous, tall, skinny, the whole nine. She is the package that she thinks that she should be, but she's still miserable because it's what she's telling herself. And so the resistance is, well, if I don't have this hard set way, that I've been told is the right way, then I'm going to fall apart. Everything is going to fall apart. So it's a part, right? So it's just one part of us. We have lots and lots of parts. Internal family systems theory is a really good, effective methodology that I like to put into hypnotherapy, because we're not just one person. We're lots of different things. We're the mom part, and we're the boss part, and we're the entrepreneur part, and we're the, the coddly part, and we're the wife part, and whatever, whatever you are. And so her part is, if I don't keep bulldozing forward, then I'm not the good girl and I'm going to fail. And if I don't have this very stringent way of thinking, then everything I'll be a sloppy mess. So
Her
she was very
cortisol must be
resistant.
like sky high then. I mean, the pressure she
Very.
puts on
Oh
herself.
yeah.
Wow.
A lot of pressure that she puts on herself. And so letting go of that part in hypnosis was very difficult, because she was like, yeah, but this is like my protection. Protection is huge,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So if I don't have this, then I could die. And that's what the subconscious says. It goes that far. The subconscious talks to you like a child. I saw a TikTok video the other day that was perfect. So there's this child behind dad, and dad is flipping burgers, and he needs his buns for the burgers. And he says to the kid, "Hey, sweetie, can you grab my buns?" And he goes over and he grabs his dad's buns. And that's what the subconscious does. It's very literal, right? So you have to be very clear to the subconscious as to what you want. So for her, it's the resistance there is, but I'm going to fall apart. This is the only thing that I have that keeps the control. And what I have to tell the subconscious is that you're not in control. Your control is
Right.
controlling you. And so when you release that control, then you have a new part that comes forward that's nice and easy and resistance free and happy and joyful and blissful and calm and collected and nice to you and empathetic and compassionate and curious. And
Right.
that's self, right? And so when we get into self and we're able to tap into self, that's where we really figure out who we are, what we want, and what really makes us happy. And so that's the big goal. That's the mindset goal, is to, again, release everything and release resistance and look inside, look inward, and talk to self, which is compassionate and curious and empathetic, and allows you to stop and smell the roses when it's time to stop and smell the roses, which you got to do often, every single day,
Yes.
multiple times a day. And that's the trouble, is that people don't do that. And so that's resistance. Oh, I don't have time to stop and smell the roses because I have a million other things that I need to be doing. But those million other things are not going to be successful if you don't stop and smell the roses first and make sure that you're going the right path. If you're not going the right path, then you end up doing all this work and causing yourself exhaustion because
Right.
you're doing a bunch of things that aren't working for you. So stop, slow down, smell the roses, get out into nature, allow that energy, take your damn shoes off, seriously, walk in the grass. There's energy that comes up from the earth that allows your vibration to rise. Smell the roses, smell the flowers, touch the plants, talk to nature, talk to whatever your belief is, ask for help. There are spirit guides all around us. There's energy all around us. There's things that we can tap into all the time that helps us go in the direction that we need to go, and that actually helps us change our mindset without even really thinking much about the mindset. Then you start to feel happy again. You start to feel blissful again. The resistance has released. And then these new ideas start to come into play, and you think, I really kind of like that idea. And how does it feel? Always ask yourself, how does it feel? If it
Right.
feels good, if it feels right, go that direction and see what's up. See if it's the right path. Guarantee if it feels good and it feels right and it came from a place of self, then it's the right path. And then you won't have that resistance. Then that's where the law of attraction, like you asked, comes into play, right? So when you release
Yeah.
all of that resistance, you release all of the doubt, you release all of the fear, because that's doing nothing. It's just a gauge.
Yeah.
We have to have that each day. We have to have the gauge on where we are. And then when we say, okay, that's not where I want to go, that's not where I want to go, and we release all those things, then the resistance, the fear goes away. Then that path just becomes super clear. And then you go that path and you're like, oh my God, I just made $10,000. What the heck? And it wasn't even a pathway that you thought you were going to go, but it felt good. If it feels good, it's right.
This everything that we've talked about, or you've talked about predominantly, is really, to me, is the meat of it. Like when you really think about entrepreneurship, purpose and strategy are super important. I'm not downplaying them, but the thing that I've learned over and over and over again, and many times knocked flat out, and I'm not doing this anymore, and crying, and is that it turns you inside out, and it allows you, if you let it, to really show up more and more as the real you, not the pretend you, not the I shoulda, coulda, woulda you, not the, shame-based you, but the real self that you talk about. So I just really want to point out how valuable it is to have you here in this space talking about this, because I really think if all of us did that work, whether you're in business or not, this
Yes.
world would just be a better place all around, right?
100%. 100%. This world is really based on the outside, right? How do we look? What does our hair look like? I need injections for Botox, and that's great. I do it myself. Fine. Everybody do that. But people are willing to spend way more money in that direction for the outer appearance and everything around you and what you have and what kind of clothes you have in the purse that you're carrying. And it's a shame because what's inside is really what is going to give you youth. It's going to
Yes.
slow down the aging process. It's going to do all these things so you don't have to inject yourself and do all of these things,
Yeah,
it's all backwards.
it
And so
really is.
that is truly, and so then, imagine yourself 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, and you're 70 years old now, and you didn't follow your bliss. You didn't follow yourself. You didn't pay attention to yourself. And here you are. Now I've got, smokers. They've been smoking for 50 years and they just want to quit. They're miserable. And what comes up in the hypnotherapy? I'm trying to keep you down. That's what the subconscious says. I'm trying to keep you down. I'm trying to keep you in the place you were 50 years ago. I'm trying to kill you even sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
Trying to, do all these things because there's doubt and fear and all these narratives that we've created for so many years. So in hypnotherapy, that is the key, is to let go of all of the narratives that have been so hurtful to us for so long, all of the belief systems that we've created that we aren't enough. 99.9% of the time, it is, I don't feel enough.
True.
Well, what is enough? It's never enough.
That's true.
Perfection is unattainable. So it's about the journey. It truly is about the journey. It's like, how do I feel in this journey today? When I wake up in the morning, how am I feeling? What do I want? What is missing in my life that's creating something that doesn't feel like bliss? Look for what it is that's missing in your life and go that direction, no matter what society says, no matter what mom and dad say, no matter what, your husband thinks that you should be doing, no matter what your sister tells you. It's what
Right.
do you want first? What makes you feel amazing? And then go that direction and everything else will fall into place. Every single entrepreneur absolutely needs to know this, because if you're putting in the yes, then you get to the tactical part, right? You have to have a system and a method, obviously, for success. But if you don't know what your heart is and you don't know who you are, and if you have not tapped into self and tried to figure out what it is that you really love, then you're going the wrong direction no matter what direction you're going. It's like flailing around in a pond with no lifeline. Get your
True.
buoy. Figure out what your buoy is first. Hold on to that buoy, caress the buoy, look at the shape, look at the size, look at how buoyant it is. Really know what your buoy is, and then move forward into the next step.
Yeah, it all has to start there. So when you talk about maybe an action item that doesn't feel taxing or overwhelming that someone could take today, just that little baby step, what do you recommend our audience might do?
Yeah. Pay attention to your narrative. So pay attention to what you're telling yourself. We don't do that near enough. For instance, like do a little exercise just in the morning when you wake up. That first thing I've said actually a couple of times. When you wake up, how do you feel? What do you say to yourself? Do you say, wow, I can't wait to get started in my day? Or do you say, I'm friggin' exhausted, bleh, to the alarm system, I need to sleep 10 more minutes? If you're doing that, ask yourself why.
Yeah.
What is it that feels so exhausting about what I'm going to do in that day? Then you get up, you look in the mirror, you're brushing your teeth. What are you saying to yourself? Are you saying, damn, you look awful right now? Or are you saying, you are a bad bitch? Yes, you are. If you're saying you're a bad bitch, you are going to rock this day. I cannot wait to see what you do today. You're in the right place. If you're like,
Right.
ugh, you look exhausted, find out why you're exhausted. Listen to what your subconscious is saying. Your subconscious is talking all the time. It's telling you things all the time. So when you say the narrative, you sit down on the computer and you think, what the hell am I supposed to do now? What direction am I supposed to go now? If you're walking in mud, you're
Right.
telling yourself this, there's something wrong. You got to stop, put it all away, close your eyes, go inside. Listen to the best thing that I like to use is the sound of like an AC machine. I actually have it on my YouTube channel. I've got AC for hours. It's just this, right? So it takes out all the other noise and you can just go inward and focus on what you're doing. And when you do that, you close your eyes long enough and you focus on nothing, which is really hard to do.
Yeah.
It takes practice. But when you just clear the mind and do nothing, your body will feel like it's floating. When you're there, you're there. That's the place that you want to go. That's the easiest way that I find to hit self and to really figure out what it is that what's off. What do I need? And the answers will come, right? So you can ask a question and the answers will automatically come. Just listen to it. It's very light. It just says, "Oop, this is what you need." And then you can go on with your day and go that direction and try it out. It's easy. So it really is the narrative. What are you saying? What are you saying to yourself in that day? Pay attention to everything that you say. When it's negative, flip it. Automatically flip it. It takes a
Yeah.
while to change this perspective because we're so used to beating ourselves up. And
Yeah.
so it will take months and months and months of consistency of saying, when you say, "Oh, I just can't do that right now." Nope, wait a minute. Even though you don't want to, you say, wait, yes, I can. This is a very short period of time. I'm totally capable of this. I'm going to do this. Watch how your body changes, your body language, the energy in your body, everything changes when you go to that positive. Change your narrative from a negative to a positive, from negative to a positive, from
Yeah.
negative to a positive. Just keep doing that.
And you will notice, for those of you listening, that Eileen did not say, notice what's not working and beat the crap out of yourself.
Yes.
No. Notice what's not working, be gentle with yourself, look inward and do the work so that you can tweak and change. So I just wanted to point that out because I know the old me in the past would have been like, see, I messed up. What's the point? Like going to that negative space and then creating more of it is going to create more of it. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there because it's so
Yeah.
important.
And mistakes
Yeah,
are beautiful,
they
right?
are.
That's
Yeah,
that's how we learn. If we're not
it's
making
true.
mistakes, we're not learning anything. Well, what's the fun in that? Make all the mistakes you want, and then
Yeah.
figure out what it is. Okay, so why was that a mistake? And what did I learn from that? And what direction should I go there? That's how you maneuver down your path, is all
It's
these
true.
little mistakes. So beating yourself up over every single mistake, geez, it's exhausting.
It's so
Oh,
exhausting.
talk about waking up and not wanting to go move
Right?
forward.
No wonder.
Yeah.
It's like a fish trying to swim upstream and someone's whacking it on the head. Like it doesn't get
Yes.
anywhere.
Yes.
But yeah, so I'm excited to be able to share with the audience or have you share with the audience what your free gift is because it's a generous one. So go for it.
Yeah, so I've got a free confidence meditation on there. Meditation is like hypnosis in a lot of ways. So it's like a self-hypnosis slash meditation, because it is all about narrative. Hypnosis is about narrative. By the way, we're not talking about like stage hypnosis. People get that confused a lot.
Yeah,
It's
I
not,
do.
you're out cold and all these things. It literally is bringing the brain down to the alpha brainwave, which is that falling asleep, like right when you fall asleep and you have these really weird visions and dreams and things like that. That's the alpha brain. And so we get you to the alpha brain, and it's a very relaxed meditative state, and that's where it's the portal to the subconscious. So you can speak directly to the subconscious and it will answer questions. In fact, I'm putting up a video so people know what it's like, clips of hypno sessions that I've done with clients, so people can see that when I'm speaking directly to these people, it's not even them, like their voice is different. It's the subconscious speaking. And a lot of times the voice will even change. It'll be like a younger voice or, and it's answering questions. So this confidence hypnosis is super important, especially, really for anybody, but in the entrepreneurial space, it takes a lot of confidence to move forward. It's a scary place to be. You're defining your own path. You're making your own business. All of the weight is on your shoulders. All of the financial stress is on your shoulders. And there's always the piece in the background. There's always the subconscious going, this is dangerous. This is not new. Or this is new. This isn't something that we know. Danger, danger, danger. Don't go there. Because that's the job of the subconscious, is to keep you safe.
Right.
It's to keep you alive. So your subconscious will work constantly on saying, no, 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 it's new, it's new, it's new. Don't go this way. Don't go this way. That's entrepreneurship. It's all new.
Oh,
yes.
No wonder it's so hard sometimes.
Yes.
Right?
You have 95% of your thoughts working against you. That's why the narrative is so important. So this hypnosis is super important. So when you go onto my website, it's on the main page. Just scroll down to the bottom, hypnolife365.com. Scroll to the bottom and then go through the purchase. Use the code PRIVATE100. Private is all caps. And then you get it for free. And do it for 30 days. Give yourself the gift of doing it for 30 days to build that confidence. Because guys, I'm telling you, I've been an entrepreneur for 30 years plus.
Yeah.
If you have a narrative that you're not even aware of that's keeping you from going the direction that you want to go, you will never get there. You got to start from the inside out. It has to be a belief system that is in your core that says, I'm going to do this. I'm going to succeed in this. This is the direction that I'm going. I love the way that I'm going. I'm so happy with the way that I'm going. I love the way it feels when I'm going this direction. I love the way that it feels when I have confidence. I love the way that it feels when I win, when I make a sale. I love the way that it feels when I lose something, or that I don't do something in the right way, or that I make a mistake, because then I know that I'm moving forward in the right direction. I've already made that mistake and I'm moving forward. I love the way that it feels. I love the way that it feels. I love the way that it feels. I can. Because you can. Anybody can.
Boom. Yes, if you are in ease and flow, obviously challenges are something we all encounter no matter what, but it really is about not pushing the boulder up the mountain. It's about being pulled up the mountain by the vision that you have. And
that's right. It's about sitting. I love that. So there's a boulder at the bottom of the mountain and you're the only one that's got to get the boulder to the top of the mountain. Well, how are you going to do that? You're certainly not going to do it by pushing it, because it's going to
roll back on you and you're going to be a pancake anyway.
Totally. So what do? You sit still for a second and you think, okay, I've got to think outside the box. And how am I going to do this on my own? Well, I need some levies. I need some pulleys. I need some this. I need some that. And then you put all of that together first before you even start the boulder up the hill. You got to have all the things in place.
Start there. Yes.
Start with the thought.
Right back to ground zero. I love it. So Eileen, thank you so much. I feel like you and I could carry on for 100 more days, but it's been amazing. And I know that our audience is going to be just blown away. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you saying yes. You've recently just literally just getting over a pretty nasty flu, and you've still showed up. So I just thank you for doing that and being here.
Yeah, thank you so much. And, that's actually one last piece here. I know that we're closing out, but it's important for, I think, our entrepreneurs to understand is, my illness came from, I had to get rid of a toxic relationship. And when I did that, my body just went. So I was holding on to a lot of toxicity. It was the last piece that I really needed to get rid of. That's something that will hold you back. If you have people that are telling you you can't, if you have people that don't have confidence in you, if you're surrounded by people who are not moving forward, who don't have the right mindset, who don't have the guts and the gumption that you have, that tell you that you're not enough, get rid of them. I don't care if they're your mother, your father, your husband, your what. If they're not willing to change and grow with you, you have to move forward, and the tower is going to fall. And in tarot, they use that, right? The tower. When a tower falls, it means that something in your life had to change, had to fall in order for you to continue going in your purposeful path. And that's what happened with me. I had to, 4.5 years of this relationship that was just frustrating. And I just saw a side that finally told me, this is not the direction that I need to go. This is not the relationship that I'm meant to have. I knew that for years. And so finally, I said, forget it. And what happened, all of that negative energy inside me went, it was like a fire, and it just floored me. And so I had to release all of the resistance of all of this negative energy that was inside my body and let it out. And sometimes it does show up in illnesses. It's a lot
Yeah.
of times illnesses, right? Because energy never dissipates, it only changes form. And energy is energy, right? And so when you have all that darkness, the shadows in your body, and then you really mix that up, it's
Oh,
going to make you sick in some way. And so then you got to just, focus on letting the energy out. We do a lot of that in hypnosis too. It's cell repair. So pay attention to the
yeah.
relationships that you're in too, because those will hold you back. Those will change your mindset. If they're telling you you're not enough, then your subconscious is going, oh, I hear that. Not enough. Okay.
Yep, collecting evidence. Oh yeah, that's true. Of course it's true. Yeah.
That's
Well, thanks
right.
for sharing that, because it's number one, it's vulnerable for you to share, but also I think a lot of people can relate to that, because I know for years, my husband is wonderful, don't get me wrong, but there were years where he was like, "Are you so sure about this?" And he can see 12 years later that, yep, I'm pretty sure about this.
Right.
If the relationship is toxic, or if they're really holding you back or really dragging you down, definitely either the relationship needs to change or they need to go. So I appreciate that you
It's one
speak
or
into
the
that.
other. Yeah, it's a
Mm,
tough thing to do, but it's the reality of
it
things.
really is. Yeah.
What's important, your self-worth and your well-being and the things that you were meant to do on this planet,
Yes,
or sticking around with a relationship that holds you back.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's a
And
no-brainer,
stop
really.
telling
Yeah.
yourself, yeah, you can tell yourself all day long, oh, it's not that bad. That's what I did for years. Oh, it's not that bad. No, he's not holding me back. He's not holding me back. Oh, it created
Oh.
so much darkness inside of me that I got really, really sick.
Mm.
That.
So
So,
let's learn from her mistakes, people.
yeah. And what do I say? I love the way it feels to make the understanding that I did hold on to a relationship for too long, that I have a tendency to do this, that I see the good in people and I hold on, hoping and hoping and praying and helping and helping and helping and helping. When, gosh, I wasted a lot of time. I did. I wasted a lot of time, and
Yeah.
here again. And so, what am I doing? I'm learning from that process that my empathy sometimes is too big. I'm an empath. And
Yeah.
sometimes I gotta reel that in, because it's about me. It's about what I feel. It's about what's making me blissful. It's about what's making me feel great. Not about him, not about her, not about anybody else. It's about me first. Take care of me first. If you're not taking care of you and filling your cup, you have nothing left for anyone else.
No, not at all. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again, Eileen. It's been a
Yes, it was a
pleasure.
pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.